All right, you should be able to see me, red, orange, yellow guy. Okay, so with that, we're looking for the cold spots. We're always going to have cold spots in here. They're going to be blue and black because if we have a point of reference, which is one of us, a human, the warmest things out here, we're always going to have that cold spot. I'm looking for it to move or to take shape. The taking shape would be a head, shoulders, moving arms and legs. That's what we're looking for. That's what we've caught in the past. That's hopefully what we'll capture again. I also love to give you the stats. You guys seem like very intelligent people. You'll understand what I'm about to tell you. I capture 4 to 5 pieces out of this thing per year, not per episode. Okay, I'm not a TV show host, not a YouTuber. Okay, I'm not out here for the likes. So you're gonna like me anyway because I got all the shit. But there's also a blue dot bouncing around the screen. I set it up that way on purpose. I'm looking for 15 plus degree temperature drops. We're about 72 degrees out here ambient. I'm looking for 57 degrees and colder coming out of it, and I also want that to move because if it stands still, it's probably a can on the ground, a sign that caught some wind. You guys are getting the point. So this one's like super fun to watch. We're going to use it for about half of our night, and then we're going to swap it out for a night vision infrared camera. So we'll talk more about that once we break it out. So what the heck are you? Oh, I guess I should start with, this is where I start with holding information. So that way you're not going to be looking, I'm not going to give you questions here like what color is George Washington's white horse, just so you have that idea. So this place used to be something relevant to the history of Charleston, which is exactly why we're here. It was the mansion for Eliza and Charles Franklin. Their mansion sat like facing the front of East Bay Street, so it was in the front of the space. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Perch Restaurant and came all the way across, and we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. That's the layout of the land. Who the hell were these people? Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 Chucks, in case you guys weren't paying attention. That's why we look for the secondary clue. So if you hear the name Charles, I need a secondary clue so I know how to address that specific Charles. So moving on. The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. Big deal for us, but I hate politics more than both of you combined. So we're going to move on. If I don't give the gentleman their recognition for signing the Constitution, they'll do it for me in a nasty manner coming out of your spirit box. So I just give it to him, we move on. We're going to discuss Eliza instead. She marries Charles at a young age according to today's standards. I say it slowly because if you're going to ask her, don't expect numbers from colonial times when young ladies got married at 12 and 14. Think of today's standards. The reason why, the husband was over double her age when they married. So kind of giving you some clues as what kind of numbers we'll be looking at. Anyway, moving on. She married him because her father was over in England. Dad thinks he's dying over there, and he's trying to bring all of his kids home one last time. Eliza didn't believe he was dying. She stayed put, right here, got married. It is 1744. You do not get married in that year to earn a green card. There's no such thing. We're not a country yet. She married this guy out of true love. There is nothing horrific about this location. If anything, it is a place of respect because it's a true love story. Moving on, she was correct. Dad did not die right away. Instead, he started sending her gifts from England to where he's standing. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. That's a plant, makes blue dye, makes your blue jeans blue. That's what we use it for now. When she got her seeds, no idea what to do with it. Had to learn from the servants and slaves how to keep it going. And then, because it's not always warm here. And then she had to learn how to make the dye, move it to a cash crop down by the Stono River, got a hold of Dad overseas and told him that the rice plantation prices were going downhill. They were going to make a killing with the indigo. And now we have an international businesswoman during colonial times. Something absolutely unheard of. So that's the boring business stuff of Eliza. Let's get into the weird stuff, because that's why you're here. So normally with this place, I try to keep it as controlled as possible, just because of what it is, out of respect. So I am going to give you some focus questions. So Shelly, if you go rogue and ask your own questions, just 3 little small rules. No yes/no questions. We've already discussed that. Be respectful because of what it is, and do not ask about Eliza's children. So I will kind of reveal that before we leave the space. So your set of questions to focus on are going to be all wrapped around her death. So just based on her death. So she's pretty open about it. But the 4 majors that we get answers to: age at time of death, how she died, where she's buried, which president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So age, how, where, president are the 4 majors. I'll be focused on what happened to the mansion, because mine doesn't give me as much as what yours will. So remember that these answers can go anywhere, including the audio from Jay's camera. Bill's the only one without communication, so to speak. Only because he's either, have you seen any numbers yet? Have you heard anything that stood out?
No.
Just so you have an idea, it is the silliest things that you are like, no, that's not going to be relevant. That's more than likely going to be relevant. So I usually tell people look for the 3 N's: names, nouns, and numbers. So things we can actually verify and prove. Not a, hey, how are you? Great, I had tea today. Like, who gives a shit? Like, I want stuff like that. So, anything weird going on with your cam?
Nope, nothing yet.
We'll make a few laps around here, and it'll probably spread out a little bit, especially since there's 4 of us. We're going to stay within the confines of the lot. I'll do Ron Robert, kind of see what he's got going on, and then I'll wrap it up and give you guys all the answers. Kind of find out how it goes. All right, Bill, you're up. Let's make some rounds. Watch out for puddles. Down for what the ambient temperature was.
There was a cold spot over there, but I think that it didn't move. So.
Oh, by the way, the blue dot, you notice how it's in the sky?
Yep.
The sky has no surface, so try to keep the sky out of view when you can.
Okay.
Otherwise, it'll go to the sky every time. Sorry.
Nope, no worries.
But yeah, Bill loves this stuff. Like every time he comes down, I got to show him the new gear and what we're playing with now. And
I actually looked at getting one of these, but we don't go out that often.
It's actually very handy around the home.
I was more for, when you're out camping.
Yeah. So the whole setup, just so you have an idea, because a lot of people ask me, like that's a Google Pixel 6, I think, so last year's model. There's very few phones that can handle the FLIR software. That's one of them. I actually, before, was using it on an old construction phone. It was an S8, a much smaller screen though. So you can get any of those phones for about $200 to $300 at this point. The FLIR camera was about $400, and FLIR threw in the back battery charger for me once they found out what I was using it for.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so you just got to get a hold of people and tell them what the hell you're actually up to. So yeah, overall you're probably looking at about $650 roughly after taxes. Just giving you ballparks. A lot of people like to ask.
Thank you.
And I have backup models, so in case somebody drops that and it breaks, like I got older models to be able to continue the tour. I just have to wait for a new one. Oh, by the way, you guys can feel free to swap. So if you want to try out Shelly's device, have fun with this. You guys are married, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Okay. So you guys don't have to choke the terms. Dad, you got any numbers?
Nope.
Now, with the cams, it's not always a real-time moment. I usually don't even follow up with the cams that often in real time just because they're small. I send them to YouTube. I could watch them on a computer screen. You guys get to watch them on your TV.
Yeah. Yeah, not really anything that's
And
not easily explained.
yeah, and Bill's readings haven't been like stellar over the top yet either. So we may not have anything out of this space tonight. Just want to give you guys some piece of context here. So,
I heard Serena.
what'd you get?
Serena.
Serena. That's my hair. So we were just over there talking. He's trying to remember the other tours he took because it's been like a year. So he's telling me about something, and I said, Eliza, you're not giving us much, and we haven't even started talking about the baby yet. He started getting spikes. So then I walked away, and that shows up. And then you just heard my daughter's name.
Oh, really?
That's my oldest daughter's name.
Okay.
So I'm wondering who I brought with me tonight. Unless Eliza's starting to,
Good to know you.
oh, my name, it's not uncommon to see my name show up, but not right after the kind of conversation he and I just had and what we just saw on his meter. So his numbers weren't like out of the average of what I normally see here, but they were still the first set of numbers he saw here since we got here. So, because we were talking about, like, you're not giving us much, Eliza. What's going on? So we started getting spikes towards the normal averages. You getting any numbers now? Nothing. And have you heard anything else besides Serena? Any other phrases?
No, not really. Because it's just spitting between stuff, so.
Fair. Jay, nothing on your end?
Absolutely nothing out of the ordinary. Everything's easily identifiable as a puddle or a reflection coming back where it would change, so that everything's identifiable.
good on you for figuring that out, and I didn't have to do it for you. Because I have to do that stuff every night with the muzzles that touch that camera that have never even seen it before. So let's go ahead and hit that stop button. We have a few little spikes here. I don't feel like this is where like things can go off course. Yeah, very interesting. Anything else that you may have heard? Nothing else that
Nothing
stood out?
that's standing out.
All right, so let's talk about why we're here. I guess first off, Jay, are you picking up on anything?
No, when we were walking up here to the gate, I was, and then I realized there's a group right over there.
Yep.
So no.
Okay. When we have tourists even down at the other end, just be mindful of that camera.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we'll understand the footage of your feet. So, with this place, this is Philadelphia Alley now. It used to be called Jewelers Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. Every ghost story tells the same damn story. Again, that's the reason why I was going to take it out, but he follows me. I'm going to give you the same story, but with a few extra details. So, here's how the story goes. The doctor was down here from Rhode Island. So when you guys started talking about RI earlier, I was like, oh, that's interesting. But anyway, so he moves down here. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. I say his name slowly because if you hear the song like Brown Eyed Girl, you get it all the time. It's not coincidence. Part of the name. Anyway, Doc moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a lot of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of the cash flow. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after her money. So he tells Amanda to get rid of the doctor. He comes down here to Rhode Island to prove that he's not. On his way into town, he had a coachman. The coachman set him up to be robbed and killed. It's like having a really bad Uber driver in the face. By the way, I'm sorry, I don't even know why I said that. I usually only say that when I have like my teenage kids because they have no idea what the hell a coachman is. Yeah, but anyway, somebody was walking by and seeing what was about to happen to this newcomer because he was a good coachman. And the person walking by was named Ronald Isaacs. And he was really concerned about the game. So we were getting the letter from RI had a spirit box level crash. So I bought another device. We're not using it tonight because I broke it 2 weeks ago. But anyway, what it does is it acts like a digital region. Anytime we have an EMS spike like those devices, he gives us a letter. So that kind of all the way out. We've had it probably 6 to 7 times. Jay, do you have something?
I'm not sure. It's forming and unforming, but I can't tell if it's residual heat from daytime in certain areas.
Are we looking like straight down the path?
Straight down the path. But this that's raised here, you watch vehicles go by, the vehicles go by behind it. I just killed it. The car killed it.
Heat reference.
But I wasn't getting that anywhere else.
It is odd that it's above the end of the path, like in the road.
Well, I was expecting this, but the fact that it was showing up visually, where, like I said, when I watched a car go through, you could see where it the car went through behind the. And the reason I'm studying it is because I'm getting nothing off of it.
Well, the other curious part for me is I know that we can see like the white line going from left to right
Mm-hmm.
to signify the end of the alley. And that white line is only there because the camera sees in 2D only. So it puts those white lines up where a temperature drop would be, or where things like something should be, a 3D object. But it might be just the actual end of the alleyway. So that's a possibility. I have to like zoom in and kind of see where the cone is sitting, and that kind of thing when I do get the freeze frame shot of it.
Right.
But good catch, especially if we have a car going behind it. That would be interesting as well.
But it's consistent too. I'm not really
Yeah.
seeing other.
it's not really
It did disappear and reform, but it could have just been.
So back to Ralph. He tells this doctor, dude, I know this guy, the coachman. He's going to try to kill you. Come with me. We're going to go to 59 Church Street. I got friends there. They'll rent your room. You'll be safe. Doc took him up on the offer. They became friends. The longer the doctor stays here in Charleston, the more money he's making. Proving his point, he's not after Amanda's cash. He's making his own. So Amanda gets wind of this, and she's moving down so they could be married. And Dr. Ladd became known as the Whistling Doctor. The reason why I hate the damn story. Every haunted city you will ever visit is going to have a cliched whistling ghost. We all have one. This one just happens to be a doctor. There is validated proof of this from my tours and other equipment that we've used down here. Just take it for what it's worth. So why are we in Dueler's Alley? I'm telling you about a happy doctor. Dr. Ladd and Ralph go see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. He gets better seats. So walking home from seeing Richard III one night. They are arguing over the actress they just saw, and Dr. Ladd thought she was great. Ralph didn't. The argument turns into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiance, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. Well, it got really ugly between the two of them, and they went their separate ways. The next day, Ralph goes to his friends at the newspaper and places an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston would be things of the doctor. Kind of a he's a disgrace to society kind of bullshit. When Doc saw this ad and rebutted with, let's go to Dulu's Alley. Let's settle this once and for all. So, somebody's going to die. Keep in mind that this argument started over an actress. Shit was really dumb back in the 1700s. Anyway, two gents came down here, back to back, took their paces, 10 away from each other. They turned, and Doc pointed his gun in the air and shot his one bullet. He did not want to kill his friend. Just needed the courage to show up to the fight. But Ralph has his one bullet still, and he puts it in the kneecap in the doctor on purpose. He did not want to kill his friend either. He just wanted to show him he's not willing to forgive him. So, Doc didn't die, fell to the ground. His friends picked him up and took him home to 59 Church Street, where he died 10 days later on November 2nd of 1786, after refusing medical treatment. Two things about the last statement. It is 1786. Gunshot wounds back then are a lot different than now. He probably just thought he had lead poisoning and tried to bleed it out himself. So he's a doctor. So there's your two weirdness about that last statement. Every ghost story told you to listen for the whistles while you're here. If we're going to get it, it's going to come up on the audio of the camera or my voice recorder. It's not to say that we haven't had the word whistle show up on the word list, or during my spot check, I get the whistling part of a song and the word doctor from a commercial immediately after it. Doctor happens all the time. So take that for what it's worth. I don't look for the stuff here. You know the increments that how I work it. It's just him saying hello. I'm still not going to tell you what his code word is, but if you guys stay here long enough and you try this alley on your own and you walk all the way through, because remember I've been kicked out of here. We're going to talk about that in just a second. Just remember, every local knows the damn story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland Street or Queen Street, we all throw a whistle down this alley. I could drive down this road and throw a whistle down here out of habit. That's how much we actually do it. So just keep that in perspective. Let's talk about why I got booted out of here. So, the alley, where he was pointing his camera earlier, there used to be a wall about halfway between the gate where we're standing and Cumberland Street. That's the reason why I come all the way down to the gate, because it's about the halfway mark. The wall was there because this was called Cow Alley. This is where they kept all the livestock for the city of Charleston. We're going back further than Duller's Alley. I always like to give timelines of things. But anyway, so that means they started building this alley down on the other side by Queen and worked their way towards us, so that way we have this beautiful alley that you see before you. However, those bricks down on the other end are older than the ones you're standing on. Those bricks are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a handprint in one of those bricks from a slave child. You can see it very plainly. There's some fingerprint swipes in others, but the handprint is very defined. And I used to take my groups down there for a history lesson. There's nothing paranormal about that damn brick. You already know how I feel about cemeteries? That's the last place you're going to find that kid is at that brick. He's not there. November 26, 2020. I remember this day for the rest of my life. I took my group down there, group of 10. Tickets were much cheaper back then. And they all stopped and huddled around the brick, waiting for something to happen. I know nothing's going to happen, and I'm trying to be respectful to the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. We're standing outside that gentleman's dining room window. Well, he saw us and came out screaming. My youngest daughter, I won't tell you her name yet, she actually thought it was hysterical that Dad was getting yelled at. So we just moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't tour on holidays, especially Thanksgiving, because I worked in upper management for Walmart for a very long time, and you guys fight over towels on Thanksgiving. You scarred me for life. I will never work another holiday ever. So, the next day was the 28th of November. The date's irrelevant, I promise. I called my partner that I had at the time, and I told him what happened, and he's laughing at me like my daughter did, because he already got the complaint. So he basically said, dude, you're only allowed to go down about halfway. Otherwise, it's residential, and you got to reroute your group tonight. He had no idea what my route even was, apparently. So what I told my group that night, I don't believe in the next story. I've never had anything happen over there with my equipment, and I'm not into pirates, I'm into vampires. Normally, I would tell you a pirate story next, but I've been kicked out of there, too. I'll tell you what we're doing instead. But before we left, somebody with a spirit box heard the name Anne. If I tell you we're going to be discussing pirates, who's the first pirate you think of?
Blackbeard.
Blackbeard, right. You think that you're in Charleston, you're going to hear
I was
Blackbeard.
going to say,
Well,
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp. Oh, I get the Captain Jack Sparrow answer all the time. But I didn't tell them we were going to be discussing Anne Bonny, the female pirate. So I was like, okay, maybe we'll get something. I took him around the corner. I told him what I did know about piracy at the time. Remember, it was only a quick day to do research. Somebody else with a different spirit box heard the number 300. No idea what it means. I did the research. We were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was on November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300th anniversary of her pirate trial. Yeah, I was actually quite pissed off. Let me explain. I have a master's degree in creative writing, several other bachelor degrees in other forms of writing. Whenever I'm doing research, especially on paranormal things, I need facts and data. Pirate stories come from facts and like pirate lore, and those were written 100 years after the golden age of piracy. So that's a problem for me. Anytime somebody found something that could be relevant, I had to read like 3 textbooks to try to verify it. It was a big problem. However, got into pirates quite a bit. So I was watching all the pirate movies, all the documentaries, read a shit ton of books on pirates. I think half my library at home right now is about piracy in some, way, shape, or form. Read a lot of captain's logs. You get it. I mean, I did a lot of research, but now they're looking at that space where tourists can't go through there anymore. So what I did was I had to come up with a quick story. You guys are going to get both stories of what's going to happen over there, because here's why. I found the quick story of I'm going to just tell the story where everybody else does until they clear up the whole pirate story area, but they never cleared it out and cleared it for us to go back. So I was telling this story that I don't really care for because it's cursed, but I've already gotten clues on our way in here about that particular story on my word list. So I'm like, oh damn it, now I got to tell that story too. So we're going to go up there, and I'm going to give you guys the quick gist of the story. We're going to get, I don't know, maybe 5 to 10 minutes worth of footage out of a new camera. I'll take Jay's thermal imaging camera when we get up around there, and I'll set up the new lighting system. And then we're going to go directly across the street to the other side of the cemetery, where I'm going to tell you the story I'm trying to replace that one with. So you're going to get both of them tonight. This is where I told you things can go off the beaten path. But the fact that I've already gotten, things relevant to the story I don't like to tell. Let me see if there's anything else. Nope. Very interesting. Any numbers?
Yep.
Anything heard, or were you focused on me?
Trying to do both.
I know. That's good luck with that. That's why we record everything. I talk back. Grandpa. All right. So, any other major questions on dueling that I might be able to answer? There have been some famous, apparently presidents have come down here and dueled, all kinds of crazy mess. If you walk through here and move some of the foliage out of the way, you can see the bullet holes on the side of the walls. They try to hide it with the foliage. All right. Well, then we're gonna bolt out of here and go talk about this crazy story that I don't like to tell. So yeah, hit that stop button, and then we'll swap your camera out once we get stopped up there again.